everyone. Welcome back to our second season of Sugar, Spice, and Everything Chaos. It's really amazing that you have been supporting us throughout our break and you've been following us on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. And you've also been engaging. It's been really an amazing last season. And I think we have something very special for the season. So before we start, I'm Anne, your host, and I have my only and beautiful co-host, which is Perlin. And we are here to introduce our this season's topic or the theme. And let me give it up to our beautiful host, Perlin.
Hi. Okay. That was something, right? Yeah. So we thought this time because last season we spoke a lot about physical, bodies and how that, affects our health and psychological issues. And we connected those things. We thought like this time we could go a little bit beyond
Mhm.
psychology and get into sociological and political perspective. So it basically comes from this idea that like we individuals do not exist as in isolation. For instance, if you had to understand a person more than you getting into like who they are, what they are, I think if you understand their environment, that tells you a lot more about their behavior than anything else will. So yeah, I don't know if you've heard of this idea, right? Like if a plant was thriving or if it was like struggling to survive, it tells you more about the soil and the environment in which it is placed than the plant itself. You won't consider the plant to be a failure because the plant is failing to, blossom and bloom. But you would kind of have to sit and assess the environment that is producing such plants. So if we had to kind of extract that sort of an idea to understand humans and well-being and systems of oppression and things along those lines, how can we understand the female lived experience better? So I thought like as an overarching theme for this season we could talk about like the politics of the female psyche.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. So, is there any reason that you kind of came across this? Was there a moment that you thought, okay, this is something that I really want to talk about? It's coming from personal experience or it's coming from something that's happening around you?
Oh, it is coming from personal experience. It is also something that's coming from, things that are happening around me. To kind of start off this season, let's kind of explore or like, try to analyze this quote. Follow along with me. I'm going to read it from my laptop. So this is a quote by Charles Bukowski. It's a pretty popular quote. Okay. So this is it. And when nobody wakes you up in the morning, and when nobody waits for you at night, and when you can do whatever you want, what do you call it? Freedom or loneliness?
Um, I think the minute you said it, if you actually saw my expression, I frowned, because it felt like, at least to me, it felt sad because nobody is waking you up. And I think it hit me when you said there's nobody, when you go back at night, there's nobody. And I think for me, it felt like loneliness. And I'm not sure how the audience is going to feel, but yeah.
Yeah, so this is where, we kind of meet in this episode. So, you know how, like, one of the popular themes of social media today is talking about the male loneliness epidemic, right? So,
Hmm.
I thought, why not in our episode, we talk about something that never gets addressed, which is the female loneliness epidemic. We have so much content on social media that talks about productivity for women, going and being that boss, going and being that sort of like conquer it all, have it all woman. But like all these women who are thriving and doing so many things don't talk about the loneliness that comes with the freedom. And I thought we could address that. What exactly does it mean to go through life as a independent woman who is having all the freedom in the world, the money in the world, but nobody really cares or like sits with this idea that she might be lonely?
Oh, right. I'm getting a lot emotional. But yeah, I think as much as I think growing up, I think I've had a very independent environment. I've always been on my own. I always, I didn't have to ask permission for anyone. I just do what I just give information, and I'm just that kind of a person, right? And I was very comfortable until like I think 26, and then I had a relationship, and then I thought, okay, this is a different perspective. Never had this perspective before. Being able to share it with someone, being able somebody cares about your feelings and ask about your day and all of that. But until then, it's like it's my day, and I just ask, okay, good day, bad day, and then you just sleep. And then I think now that I've come back to a place where I am again getting into that boss bitch vibe, and as much as I missed it, I also feel like there's something missing. It's just the wanting to be, asked about my day, something as simple as that, or wanting to tell somebody, call a friend. I think recently I've been having this thing where I've been itching to talk somebody to somebody, so I've been calling random friends, even like call in at random times and say, I need to talk, I need to talk, I want to talk about something. It's just that somebody I want to be heard, other than me to myself. I don't know if it's making sense.
It is making sense, but my question here to you would be, why is it that you did not prioritize your emotional needs before the age 26? Like, didn't
Because
you
I don't
realize
know.
you were lonely?
I think I got comfortable being alone. I never knew, I actually never understood, at least from my experience, I never understood how it is to share it with someone, even a friend for that matter. I didn't know how to share it. And I think because single child, I was lonely and I didn't have friends in school and all of that growing up, and then college back to forth. So basically I didn't know how it is to be with people. So it's just what I knew, so I just went along with it, and I was just comfortable there. I was not answerable to anyone. My feelings won't get hurt because there's no people to get hurt me. So yeah, I think that's that.
This is reminding me of a friend who shared this once with me. So she's 30 something right now, and she was talking about how there's one thing that she regrets about her life, which is basically that she didn't make enough female friends. And the reason she was reflecting on this is because, like, all her teenage or teenage years and her 20s, right, she was constantly in long term relationships, so it will always be like a 3 year or a 4 year relationship. I think her last relationship was like 9 years or something. And what she would find herself doing is basically, centering her entire world around this one person. And I think, like, we've all been conditioned to kind of believe that our lives should revolve around the man that we end up with. I think if you look at the Tamil culture for that matter, right, uh, we are told that our life's purpose is to basically be of assistance to the husband that we get married to. This is even there in the Bible, right? A woman is the helper of the man. Eve was Adam's helper. So, to even go to the extent of, after marriage, this was actually something that happened at work, where one senior faculty was talking about one relative of hers, and she was saying how this relative, so she's a young person, she got married to someone in her family, right? And in that marriage, they were recently wed, and they had the girl had like a long weekend vacation coming up. So she decided to pack her bags and do like a girls trip with her girlfriends. She went to Mumbai somewhere, right?
Hmm.
So this lady is not her mother-in-law, but then she's like a relative. So she came and she was speaking about, the generation of girls that we have today, and she was talking about it like, what's wrong with the generation today? Why are these girls are not understanding that friendship and all that is only before marriage? After marriage, your life should revolve around your husband. Because what do you mean you get 5 days off and you think about planning a girls trip? If I got 5 days off, I would be thinking, oh, my kids will like this. I should make murukku, I should make this, I should make that, because my kids will love it. My world would revolve around like my family, my children, my husband's family, and that's about it. But girls today, they're so selfish, they're so bizarre, that they would like go for these girls trip for God knows what for. Like, why do you need friends? So to kind of like circle back into this thing, right? Why do you think like it's easy for us to think about our social life as a romantic thing rather than a social life as friendship communities? Because if you look at men and the way they relate to social life, right, they don't look at their romantic partner as their social life.
Correct.
Like
Yeah, that's
they
very correct.
have, yeah, they have their boys, they need their boy time, they do sports together, they do video games together, they do so many things that is fun and random and very dumb sometimes. Sorry, but they have these spaces where they go to just to spend time socially. But for women, that social space is never found outside of a romantic relationship. Why do you think like our culture trained us this way?
I think from what you are saying, I have this, it's not because a culture has trained us to be able to center around men. So let me just give an example, okay? So I had this book club that is we did with women on Women's Day, and we had a discussion about how it is to be a woman and what kind of why and are you happy that you married early? That was the kind of conversation that was going around. And many of the women were talking about how they actually fell in love with this person and they really love this person, and also because they get to be whatever they want in a relationship. They don't have to ask the parents permission, they are not restricted in any way, they don't have curfews at homes, they don't have to ask anyone. So the freedom that at least the Tamil community, because I'm aware of the Tamil community, that the freedom was not given to women in Indian society and Tamil society. And if you ask any girl, okay, I'm going to go for a movie with my friends, you know that's a struggle for many girls to get the permission. And you know that it's a struggle to go for even to think about a trip. You know, a lot of reels revolves around how parents are saying no to girls because they want to go for Goa trips or they want to go for girls trips, because trips and these social situations are shunned for women in many ways, at least not for me, thankfully. But I'm saying that this is what I've seen in my friends. And when I, as a person, go to my female friends and say, okay, let's go out, let's plan something, you know, the things they tell me is that my parents won't allow me. This is not something that is I'm allowed to do. So what happens is they have this understanding that if I have a male member with me who's like a friend, like a your partner who becomes a boy, and a boy is a friend and he's also our age, so you get to do things with him. So what happens is it becomes a way for these girls in their mind, okay, this is the only way for me to get my freedom. So what happens is because of not having this opportunity to spend time with friends, they kind of become this person where okay, they never spend quality time with their friends, girlfriends at all. So they only got to spend time with their boyfriends. So they it just becomes their life, especially if they are married. After marriage, they start going for trips with their husbands and children and all of that, because it feels like freedom is given to a woman only when she's married and married to a progressive man, apparently. And that is, I think, is the reason behind all of this centering around men, because our freedom is tied to these men in many ways.
That that makes a lot of sense. So we don't really want or need men, but then because of the social like systems that are in place, we know that men basically are the keys. A husband is the key for you to finally make your own decisions. I think in like again, I think this was in like on old Nia Nana show where they were like, I have the keys to the bureau, and that is like power. And
Yeah.
when do you get the keys to a bureau? When you get married. So
Hmm.
until you get married, your family, your own family, your own parents are not going to give you the land or the gold. Again, it doesn't stop with marriage. You need to get married and you need to have children so that they can transfer their properties and things. I think like a lot of power dynamics maybe revolve around you being okay with submitting to a man, like you being okay with being obedient or uh, serving a man so that you can finally uh, exercise your own freedom, right? So I think for a lot of women, marriage is basically like the path of least resistance, because if you had to like figure out your own money and do everything, That's a lot of work. But then if you get married to like a decent guy, a progressive guy, like you said, so I think most of the girls, especially like the ones who get into the arranged marriage pipeline, right? They ask these questions to the man they might marry, where it's like, can I wear whatever I want? Can I the clothes that I wear, can I wear like whatever? And if they say yes, that's enough for them to like say yes to the marriage. Like it's the bar is that low, right? My clothes, if you are okay with it, I will marry you, because that is the freedom that I will fight for at this point in time. So maybe, like the reason we don't talk about the female loneliness so much is because female loneliness, we don't see it as an emotional problem. We see it as a structural problem. We know that as long as there is like a sociological barrier to our freedom, uh, we need to be okay with the fact that our emotional needs are not met. So it's kind of coming back to this idea that like if I had the freedom to exist first, like freely exist, be in my own body, thoughts, whatever, then I can sit and think about like other higher up order needs. Like this is like the Maslow's hierarchy. So you have the physiological needs, and then you have the safety needs, and then you have the need to belong and love, right? So I think for most women, the need to belong and love never really crosses our mind, because we're all stuck in that thing of like survival needs. First, do I have safety? If I have safety, I think that's good enough for me. Like, can I stay in my house where my husband will not harm me, where my husband will let me wear whatever clothes I want to? And if that is there, I think I'm good. Like, that's enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I until now I never thought about it, until you brought the fact that, why we center. I think it because we are doing it very naturally right now, that it came to me that okay, my friends are saying no because they don't have the opportunity to, go out. And they are being happy in a marriage and they are wanting to explore and do all of that because they didn't get to do it when they were alone or single, and then parents had that restriction. This it's very difficult because it's also it spoils the whole female friendships in general. We can't. How do you expect to know a friend if you're not spending time with her? How much can you know a friend by calling and talking to her? How much can you know her in and through without being close to her, having certain same similar in experiences with her, moments with her, make memories with her? If you don't have those moments, what's the point of, how can we go forward with these friendships? It's like a extinction of female friendship altogether.
Yeah. I think, this is something that many religions and many morality based discourses talk about, which is, this tendency for women to gossip, right? So you know how like gossiping is seen as bad, and gossiping leads to chaos and all that. So if you look at like why women gossip, this kind of goes back to like early 16th, 17th, 18th century. So I think this was one lady, I'm not sure from where or when she was around, but she did this thing where she would get information about different women, and the type of torture they were going through with their husbands. And when she would learn that, so she was like a herbologist, okay? So she was like someone who had an apothecary, and like I don't know if I'm saying it right. So basically someone who works with herbs and medicines, right?
Mm.
So she knew a way to kind of come up with a potion for poison, and she would give these women the poison to go back and give it to their husbands, and the husbands would eventually die, right? So the reason these women were able to get out of toxic marriages was because of gossip,
Mm.
right? Because when the minute like this woman comes out and says, this is what I'm going through, then you finally get the support you need to get out of it, right? And I think like over the period of decades, right, we see that more and more women are okay with gossiping. Like we sit and talk about our relationships, what he did, what he said. So the more we share, right, the more we're able to compare notes, the more we're able to actually see if the problem is actually us in the relationship, or if it's actually them. Like we're able to get clarity, we can take more accountability for it. But when there's no gossip between women, right, what you see is we usually have to take accountability. For instance, if a marriage breaks, right, like whether it's a divorce or separation, or even when the marriage breaks because the husband decides to have an extramarital affair, it is usually the woman who is blamed. She is told, oh, you didn't give enough to your husband, that's why he did that. He left you, he had a separate second family because of you. It's very easy to kind of blame the woman, even when the mistake is done by the man, right? So I feel like these are things that we have socially been conditioned to do without understanding why we've been socially conditioned to do them, right? And if you look at like the loneliness that comes from not sharing, like not gossiping, that's also great because I don't know if this is something you can relate to. So because I come from like a Christian upbringing, right? It's Christian school, Christian college, all of that. This was something that was taught to us, I think, in like a value education, scripture, moral class. I don't know what it was, but some class where it was a story they said where this wife and this husband, they live in the same house, and the wife gets to know that this husband is having affairs, right? And instead of going and talking about it with people, saying this man is doing this, and it really hurts her, it's breaking her inside. What she does is she goes alone into her room and she prays to God. That's
Hmm.
all she does. And eventually, what will happen is the husband will stop having affairs, and then they end up happily together and they start praying together. And then it's a miracle and it's a beautiful story, right? But then, what this does to us young women when we listen to it is it tells us that men are allowed to go astray. And if a man is not coming back to you, it's because you're not praying hard enough.
Yeah.
So, like, this is something that we don't address.
I really don't know. I think, is there a way out for this? I can't think of anything because I definitely can relate to that woman who goes inside and prays because I do that for every damn thing. But I don't know. I think we should start giving accountability for people's action, maybe. Like, as much as you want to suppress all of these things and say that it's my fault because I'm a woman, that there's this beautiful, actually, this poetry I came across recently about Women's Day, on Women's Day. So it says that don't consider me as a woman, just consider me as a human, because a woman is considered as a goddess, and if a goddess gets out of the house breaks. And I don't want to be the goddess. I want to be considered a woman. I want to be considered somebody who's as equal to you, who's able to make the same mistakes that you make, able to feel the same emotions that you feel, able to be imperfect as you are imperfect. And I think, and accept me as I am, and don't consider me as a woman or a goddess. So I think that kind of is what we have to tell ourselves, right? we if in that case that woman is supposed to get angry and feel that and probably not stay in the relationship if it's hurt so much, instead of trying to keep it all together, keep it everything together and say, okay, I am a devi, I'm a goddess, and I'm going to be that sacrificial womb, all of that. So I think that is all I can think of. Do you think there's any way out of this, whatever we've gotten into because of the structural oppression that's been done to us?
I think talking about it like what we're doing here is definitely gonna help because the more we kind of recognize the sort of environments and systems that oppress us and suppress us, the more we can kind of liberate ourselves. So we know that, oh, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. And when you don't feel guilty, right, your existence is so different. You can like breathe like a human, you can be imperfect like a human. And I think that is the sort of liberation we need to start walking towards, if not run towards. But yeah, I think that's a good place to start, where before we talk about loneliness in women, and trust me, all the women are lonely. Like whether you're married, whether you're in a relationship, they're all lonely, right? So many women. I think like this was a recent interview that Radhika did. So Radhika, the actress, where
Mm.
she talks about at the end of the day, we're all alone, and it was pretty sad. but like you see that it's honest from her side, right? She knows that she's alone, and she also knows that many women are alone, because we don't really have the time to sit and feel all the feelings that we have. We just have to get up and do it because nobody cares about our feelings, right? So maybe before we can start talking about our feelings, we need to first recognize all the places where our feelings are suppressed, and then we can get somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what she said is also, I don't know, it felt empowering to me actually, because I think at the end of the day, whatever we do, we are on our own. I didn't see it as a in a bad light, but rather it's something that it is up to us. It's our life, it's our problem, it's our responsibility to take care of it, right? It is, we have to feel it. We can ask for help, we can ask for support, but if it's not there, even then it is your burden to carry, your thing to do. So I think it is okay to be lonely, and it's okay to also wanting some support. It's okay to do whatever you're feeling at the moment. That it's, tell yourself that whatever you're feeling, it's part of the life, the part of the phase. At every phase you have a different learning, different mistakes that you do, the perfect combination of imperfectionism and perfectionism. It's all part of that whole journey, I think. So I think we are just also want to say that we are there. Everyone is there with you as a whole women community, that, we are all feeling lonely. So you're not alone. Yeah.
This is kind of bringing us back to the quote, right? Would you call it freedom or loneliness? As long as we don't have the right support, we will call it freedom. But once we have the right support, then maybe we'll call it loneliness. So, loneliness is not the problem right now. It's still political. Right now, we're still fighting for our freedom. And we're going to continue talking about the loneliness epidemic in women the next for the next episode as well. And as we had mentioned earlier, this season is going to be a little political. We are going to be talking a lot more about sociological and political philosophies and ideologies that kind of surround this idea of being a woman. Being a woman is not merely a biological existence, but it is a political statement. And it's going to get interesting, and it's going to get, as usual, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think it's a good place to stop. And we'll see you again for another great episode. And until next time, keep following us and we will keep talking to you. Bye bye.
Bye.